All right. Welcome to another episode of the Poacher Football Podcast. We're just gonna go now, like go now, just the Poacher, right? For the name, it's kind of like in like the social media is not the Facebook, just Facebook. So we're not going with the Poacher, just Poacher. Just joking. Thank you for tuning in to the channel tonight. So we're on the eve of probably one of the biggest football times or football weekends in 2025. Why there is, we got knockout games, and I think for everyone who's been watching, especially the FIFA Club World Cup, an exciting time. It kind of gets you like into the mode of like what's going to happen next summer at the FIFA World Cup. But exciting times for sure, and like again, I have my FIFA World Cup '94 shirt. Still till this day, the most profitable World Cup in FIFA history. So, fun fact to take with you on that. But yeah, let's break it down, right? So we have 8 games in the matter of 4 days. With that, for the FIFA Club World Cup, there are 2 per day, which is nice. It's a nice little easier dose of you can say football medicine for everyone as we go into like this round, instead of like I think at one point it was like 4 games per day that started like at starting earliest noon Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Pacific, all the way till about mainly like I'll probably say 8-9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So now a little bit more digestible size. It helps you punch that a little bit better. But yeah, let's break it down. So tomorrow, right, just to give you an idea here, we got Palmeiras against Botafogo. So we got a Brazilian rivalry game coming up on that. Benfica against Chelsea. Then on Sunday, we have PSG against Inter Miami, alongside with Flamengo against Bayern Munich. On Monday, June 30th, we got Inter Milan against Fluminense. And then Manchester City against Al-Hilal. And then on July 1st, we have Real Madrid Juventus, and then Borussia Dortmund and Monterrey. And the way like these games are gonna be scheduled, so like the weekend games, so tomorrow and Sunday, actually kind of makes it like a nice like fit with like the Gold Cup, or you're watching both tournaments. So like so you have like the first early window you're looking at is at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And then you have the 1 p.m. Pacific afternoon game. That's 4 p.m. Eastern. So definitely when it comes down to like overall like TV times, this fits the majority of like the global schedule. So like I know FIFA was planning on this, so like viewership's at its highest, because now like the game's gonna get real and things are gonna intensify some more. But yeah, let's break it down, right? So our first matchup here tomorrow is we got Palmeiras against Botafogo. So like the way these two teams are playing at the moment is kind of intriguing. I think a lot of people are thinking like it can go any way. I think for the most part, I think Palmeiras is a solid squad, a great team. I think this can go into extras based on the way these two teams are playing. But I have a feeling that like Palmeiras probably might edge us out in PKs. That's why I have my gut feeling tomorrow on game number 1. Then you had Chelsea Benfica. I think it's interesting because like Chelsea has been playing a little bit better in this tournament. Benfica, like realistically, without the game, without the Auckland City, like goal difference, things like that might not have gone through. So I have a feeling Chelsea's going to win this one. I think Chelsea's going to win 2-1. Tomorrow afternoon there. Then as we look into Sunday's matchups here, PSG Miami. As much as I love a MLS team and Messi moving on, but PSG is way too much. They are the European champs. They're playing on an extremely high level. They had just not the best afternoon against Botafogo, but they're still the favorites to win this tournament, hands down, no doubt. So I think they'll move on from there. I think they'll win probably like a 3-1 result, more or less. Then you got Flamengo against Bayern Munich. I honestly think this will be the game of the round. A lot of people think it's going to be Real Madrid Juventus, but I think it's actually going to be Bayern and Flamengo. They're both playing in good form for the most part. Flamengo, great talented Brazilian squad. Bayern Munich looks unstoppable. I honestly think this is going to be like a 3-2 game for the most part. And I have a feeling, just gut feeling, that Flamingo is going to upset Bayern Munich. I just I don't know. I just think sometimes like Bayern is one of those teams that like they play majority of their games dominant, but then they have this one game every once in a while that like they just don't look the part or just something's not like of a mist. And I feel like that game might be Sunday. I just have it's gut feeling, but that's just my prediction on that coming up here. So Monday we have Inter Milan and Fluminense coming up. I think Inter is like they got off to a slow start against Monterrey, but they got better as the other two games went, and I feel like they're starting to pick up a little bit of form heading into the knockout phase. So I think they're going to win this game 1-0. It'll be very competitive. And then I think Manchester City, I think they're going to win 3-0. I think based on the squad, the team they're playing, the team that they have, they're playing out of good form. So I think they'll move on. Then you look at July 1st. Real Madrid Juventus. I think great game. Also could have been a game of the round. But I think, as much as like I would love Juventus to win and see, McKennie and Weah still go on to the next round as American players, I think Real Madrid is too much. I think Real Madrid wins this game 2-1. I think it'll be very competitive, but I feel like that's what's going to happen on that match day. Then we have Dortmund Monterrey. Monterrey, como Mexicano, I think they gave a valiant effort for the most part. And I think they might go down. No, just kidding. Actually, I honestly think Monterrey can actually upset Dortmund, right? Based on like form, I think also like Monterrey's are playing. I'm not gonna say they're outplaying teams, but their tactical game plan has been superb in this tournament. Like knowing that like the games that they have to defend a little bit better, same time just strategic when they have to move forward. I think Monterrey has been very smart about how to attack these games, and I have a feeling they'll do the same thing, and I think they'll provide the upset against Dortmund, but that's just my guess here. We look at the quarterfinal, right? So I had like Palmeiras against Chelsea. I do think I think Brazilian teams are still playing strong and dominant, so I got Palmeiras going on to the semifinal. Then on the other side of the bracket, which in this case would be PSG Flamengo, I think PSG wins that game, moves on to the semis. Then it would be Inter Milan and Man City. I feel like Man City wins there. And then you look at like Real Madrid, Monterrey. I think Real Madrid wins. That puts it in your semifinal category is Man City, Palmeiras, PSG, and Real Madrid. I think Man City, Palmeiras, if that happens, I think that actually would be quite an entertaining game, in my opinion. But I feel like Man City, they didn't have the best campaign this year, like collectively. But I just think that like Pep, you can never bet on him. He excellent coach. They have, I think, the players that they can like win this matchup and move on to the finals. So I'll take Man City in a close one there in that semifinal. Then I look at PSG, Real Madrid, other semifinal. If everything comes to light. Real Madrid, like again, they're always going to be a good team. They have the talent to there, but like I think just if PSG plays to their strengths, I don't see anybody beating PSG. So I think PSG goes to the final. PSG, Man City. I see PSG winning the final. I think 2-1, 1-0. I think PSG is your champion of the FIFA Club World Cup. That's my predictions moving forward on that. So, but for sure, I think like just capping off on what these games have been like, or just like the overall the tournament, just the first round. I think it's been fantastic. I think you've been watching like a lot of the socials going on, with like teens traveling to all these different cities, and then you have all those culture like mixing into play. So like for instance, like White Ad, when they scored, they put some flares and kind of stopped the game for a little bit. That happens. I honestly think that like. I still think I'm kind of curious, like of the European teams, their teams are going to their fan base is going to show up more. I feel like in the early going, it's been more of like North America and South America. And granted, I'll give it to like the Japanese and Korean clubs, like they all showed up, right? So like I think for the most part, we'll see how this goes. Like and again, like this is like a first of its kind, and I honestly think it's been success. I think, where it's gonna be kind of like tricky is like I know a lot of people want the Confederations Cup back for like the meaning and nostalgia historical part, but you look at like overall like just product and overall like dollars. This is bringing in big dollars. You're having more players playing in this. You have more. I think you have more buy-in for the clubs. Like I think you get a better reward for winning your continental championship, which I think like you think like big picture. It's going to rethink how clubs like spend money on players or even players staying in clubs that they won with them before, vice versa, going to a club that could win like a Champions League or Libertadores, so they can like play in this competition. Because like I honestly think it's like if FIFA does it right, it's gonna be like even more exciting for the soccer fans. So that means like almost every single summer, you think about like 3 out of the 4 summers, you're gonna get exciting football, right? For the most part, and I think as a fan, that's what you want, right? You want no breaks. You want as much content to watch, And for me, it'd be great content to produce. But I think outside of that, it's gonna be an exciting few days, right? Coming up for the knockout games. I'll do a recap of the round of 16 coming up on Tuesday or Wednesday. Birthday's Tuesday, so probably Wednesday. Coming up on that. But outside of that, everyone, thank you for watching. Of course, enjoy the games. Have a great weekend. Peace.